Hello everyone, I am Nivedita Jena from Ambika Prasad Research Foundation. Welcome to all of you to our channel Biodiversity and Conservation. So today we are going to discuss about the population and its characteristics. So let's start. So the organisms exist in the biosphere as biotic communities, the basic structure of which is constituted by still smaller units called populations. So populations comprise of units of individuals occurring within definable limits of space and time. Ecologically speaking, the term becomes restricted to a closely interacting and self-regulating system comprising of an association of individuals of a single species or other species uh, within which individuals may exchange genetic information. When compared to communities, which are constituted of populations, the individuals comprising the populations are more cohesive units. So, some of the definitions of population as quoted by various authors are presented as follows. Like a population is a group of interacting and interbreeding individuals which normally has no contact with other groups of the same species. It is a discrete dynamic unit of a species population. So it was said by Nicholson in 1957, and according to Krebs, population is a group of interbreeding organisms belonging to the same species. And Yablokov in 1986 stated that the population is defined as an ultimate self-reproducible grouping of conspecific individuals which occupies a definite area over an evolutionary long span of time to form an independent genetic system and an ecological niche of its own. And Lampert and Sommer in 2007 defined the population that a group of individuals of the same species that occupies a particular location at a given time that form a reproductive system or gene pool is called a population. So it follows from this definition that the population is necessarily a numerous unit strongly isolated from similar units over a large number of generations. Then the composition of population. So populations are not composed of series of identical individuals. Two major variables distinguish individuals in a population: sex and age. The composition of many populations deviates from the expected sex ratio of 50% males. Visualize a tiger in India has a sex ratio of 4 females to 1 male. The sex ratio certainly affects the potential reproductive rate and may also affect social interactions in vertebrates. Again, age being a significant variable, the age effects are pronounced in terms of resistance to diseases and reproduction. Both sex and age are also essential attributes in population having a significant social organization since they help to specify an individual's social position. Other secondary variables may also distinguish individuals in some populations. Color is an obvious trait. Many such phenotypic traits can affect survival, reproduction, growth, and thus can be of importance to population. Then, what are the limitations of population approach? So, two fundamental limitations restrict the use of population methods. One is, what are the boundaries of population in space? So, for in some cases, the boundaries may be seen, but in other cases, organisms are so distributed in a continuous manner that no boundaries are evident. Part of the definition of population includes the probability of genetic exchange between members of the same population, but no one is able to specify this probability in a rigorous manner. One pragmatic answer can be given to the question: population is a collection of individuals that the ecologist chooses to study. To state this is to say that one may have to start his study by making a complete arbitrary decision on what to call a population. To retain this decision after the study is complete is the mark of ecological wisdom. And the next method is, how can one determine what constitutes the population of a given species. So this offers the second limitation. For some organisms do not come under the simple units of individuals. So colonies of social insects are one example. Thus, in some animal populations, methodology can be applied by making some arbitrary decision as for what units to count. Fortunately, in many cases, individuals and populations are easy to recognize and study. Then let's discuss about the unitary and modular populations. An individual is derived from one zygote. What is an individual is, however, not always clear. This has necessitated the differentiation of populations into unitary or modular. In unitary populations, each individual is derived from zygote, the product of fertilization of male and female gamete. They are mobile. The body of unitary organisms is a determinate structure consisting usually of a strictly defined number of parts established only during embryogenesis. For example, all dogs have four legs, all squid have two eyes, etc. Humans are perfect examples of unitary organisms. A life begins when a sperm fertilizes an egg to form a zygote. This implant in the wall of the uterus and the complex processes of embryonic development commence. By 6 weeks, the fetus has a recognizable nose, eyes, ears, and limbs with digits and accidents apart. Will remain in this form until it dies. The fetus continues to grow until birth, and then the infant grows until perhaps the 18th year of life. But the only changes in form are the relatively minor ones associated with sexual maturity. So the reproductive phase lasts for perhaps 30 years in females and rather longer in males. This is followed by a phase of senescence. Death can intervene at any time, but for surviving individuals, the succession of phases is, like form, entirely predictable. And in and in modular populations, the zygote develops into a unit of construction that then produces further similar modules. Most plants are modular. A tree, shrub, or herbaceous plant grown from a seed is an individual with its own genetic characteristics. Once established, some species of trees, shrubs, and many perennial herbaceous plants grow root extensions to send up new shoots or suckers that may remain attached to root extension or break off to life independently. These new modules may cover a considerable area and appeal to the individuals. And in modular organisms, neither timing nor form is predictable, and individuals are composed of a highly variable number of such modules, and their program of development is strongly dependent on their interaction with their environment. The product is almost always branched and, except for a juvenile phase, effectively immobile. Some modular organisms, such as trees, may grow vertically while others, like grasses, spread horizontally on the substratum. And modular organisms tend to be sessile or passively mobile, and as genetic individuals have the capacity for exponential increase in size. They do not necessarily undergo systematic senescence and do not segregate somatic from germline cells. Then what is metapopulations? Each population lives primarily within areas of suitable habitat. Many populations are divided into smaller subpopulations or local populations between which individuals move less frequently than they would if the habitat were homogeneous. The importance of immigration and emigration to the long-term persistence of a local population, however, was first emphasized by Levins, who coined the term metapopulation. The metapopulation approach stresses that local populations are influenced by immigration or emigration and extinction, as well as by birth and death processes. So the subgroups or subpopulations have their own dynamics independent of other subpopulations, birth and death rates. Individual subpopulations have finite lifetime and limited dispersal links, the subpopulations. Local extinction and recolonization allow metapopulations to exist. As currently defined, metapopulations are regional assemblages of plant and animal species, with the long-term survival of the species depending on a shifting balance between local extinction and recolonization in the patchwork of fragmented landscapes. The unique and group attributes of population. A population has characteristics that it shares with an organism as well as characteristics that are own its own unique position. The former might be called in a loose sense its biological attributes, the latter its unique attributes, which are largely statistical. This is not to say that a population is unique only as a statistical entity. It is to say that the biological features express themselves as statistical functions which emerge at the group level as new biological expressions. These are common property of the group as a whole. The point merits further elaboration. At least five general attributes are exhibited by population and organisms alike. Those are: a definite structure and composition is constant for any moment of time but fluctuates with age. The population is ontogenetic. It exhibits growth, differentiation, and division of labor, maintenance, senescence, and death. The population has heredity. The population is integrated by both genetic and ecologic factors that operate as interdependent mechanisms. Like the organism, the population is a unit that meets the impact of its environment.